I only buy the finest tea leaves, sister. See, POPF.
POPF is indicated on the pack.
Sister, the art of tea.
And now the stories in detail. Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard resigned today after the Australian Labor Party voted her out of its leadership. In a historic leadership vote, former Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd turned the tables on Julia Gillard, led the Australian Labor Party with 57 votes against Gillard's 45. Well, news first, Nadhim Majid, who has been closely following developments in Australia in the run-up to September's general election, reports.
Announcing the result this evening, the returning officer of the Labour caucus, Chris Hayes, said that Rudd had won the leadership ballot with 57 votes against Gillard's 45.
57 votes, Julia Gillard 45 votes.
Was there a spill for the deputy?
There's no spill for the deputy position.
Deputy Prime Minister Wayne Swan, Senate leader Stephen Conroy, along with Joe Ludwig and Craig Emerson, have all quit cabinet following the vote. Australia's Attorney General Mark Dreyfus has said that he will not resign and that it is an honour to serve in a Labor government, irrespective of who the leader is.
I understand that at the caucus meeting today, the pressure finally got too great for many of my colleagues. I respect that, and I respect the decision that they have made. But I do say to my caucus colleagues, don't lack the guts, don't lack the fortitude, don't lack the resilience to go out there with our Labor agenda and to win this election. I know that it can be done.
Speaking news first, earlier this afternoon, upon the announcement of the result, Michael Smith, an investigative journalist and political analyst in Australia, who first revealed the extent of corruption investigations into PM Julia Gillard, said that the election of Rudd as party leader will give a boost for the party at elections later this year.
Mr. Rudd is going to have problems with gaining the confidence of the House. The House of Representatives, by a vote on the floor of the House, determines whether or not a government has the confidence of that House. Now, there are three independents who had a deal with Ms. Gillard, and they say that their deal will not, they won't honour that deal with Kevin Rudd. So it may well be that Australia is looking at an early election, and I think that would reflect the will of the people. There is a great desire for a fresh ballot.
The News First International desk has been closely monitoring the developments on this story and on several occasions highlighted the extent of what is now famously known as the AWA scandal involving Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard.
Yeah, the matter was first brought to my attention by a former union official who saw it happen. Then I received a heap of documents, and the core document for me was a form that the Prime Minister filled out when she was a lawyer, and that form was a false instrument that she presented to the Commissioner for Corporate Affairs, and which he then used to incorporate a sham entity, a sham corporate entity.
Gillard ousted Rudd, who won elections against the Liberal Party led by then Prime Minister John Howard 2 years into Rudd's government, becoming Australia's first unelected woman Prime Minister, a move that earned her the ire of many Labor supporters in the country. News First Bureau correspondent in Canberra, Warren Jansen, said that if Australia ends up with a hung parliament as a result of the leadership change, Rudd could call for elections as early as August.
Now, what this means is that Rudd would probably go to an election. He may go in for an election in August as opposed to the September 14th election date, and that would mean some significant campaigning for Rudd as well, because he would have to do quite a bit for the voters to warm up to him, but I'm sure that wouldn't be too much of a problem given the vast experience he has. This is Warren Jansen reporting from Canberra in Australia for News First.
In keeping with Australian political tradition, Gillard has now addressed a letter to Government House, the official residence of the Governor-General of Australia, informing her of her wish to resign from the position of Prime Minister owing to the change in party leadership. The Governor-General will then commission Kevin Rudd as Prime Minister of Australia for the second time, mere months away from a decisive general election. Nadhim Majid, News First.